enforcement agencies on a regular basis?
Yes, we have one officer assigned with the U.S. Marshals. We have another officer assigned to the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. It's a goal of mine to get a second person involved with DEA, and also looking into putting an officer in the county-wide HIDE unit, the high-intensity drug trafficking unit through the Cook County Sheriffs.
It appears that we have become a technology-driven society, and it appears that the programs that you and some of the officers here have worked on are furthering us into that goal. What I'm concerned about is not so much a bad concern, but a good concern, is our interaction with all these other law enforcement agencies. Because it would appear that the resource sharing that is going on right now as compared to what was in the past is just really picked up. Can you give us a little more on that?
Well, working with crime reports, as we spoke about, to sit there and be able to have an idea of what crime is occurring, where, again, crime fighting, we've had people studying crime for years, and it's an unpredictable science. We can't sit there and say this is going to happen when, but using crime mapping, crime analysis, crime profiling, we can get somewhat of an idea where it's going. And to be able to work with all the informational resources we have through the FBI, using all the law enforcement intelligence and know-how and experience with the other departments and other officers has really proved beneficial. And the technology that we have here, we have other departments coming to us with some of the programs that Sergeant Fitzgerald has done through our VAST program, through our intranet, where we have this capability of some real advanced knowledge, and the program that we have set up is very unique. It's a program that I've never seen in my 22 years of law enforcement.
So we're providing guidance and assistance to other law enforcement agencies with respect to what you've set up here.
Yes.
Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
First and foremost, to put it in a common sense term, you're a street cop. So you've been on the street, you know what the street's like. Now you've taken that experience and brought it up to administrative level. Did you ever lose that feeling of being a street cop?
I hope not, and if I do, I want you to come and tell me about it. But again, it was an honor to be selected, and the one, I don't make too many promises, because you always, your integrity is what you have. But this is one promise that I do make to you and all the elected officials in the city of Berwyn is to be the best chief of police that I can be, and to make the mayor proud, the city proud of the Berwyn Police Department. And it's just taking little initiatives and just fine-tuning some things to build it to that level where one of my goals is to make the Berwyn Police Department represent the model of what law enforcement's all about.
And I think that that's what's most important when we talk about this. We could talk philosophies and theories all day, but what's most important is what gets the job done for the safety and protection of our residents. And I think that that's generally what you discuss with me first and foremost.
Absolutely, and that's communication with the residents of the village, along with their input coming back, and our communication with the department and all the different divisions and units, and working with the politicians and communicating what's going on. And that's one thing that I've seen in feedback that I've gotten back, especially with our specialized units, that between the juvenile detectives, the youth division, the criminal investigations unit, and the TAC unit, the communication that goes on between those units and patrol and dispatch, and that's a priority to keep that communication flowing.
Now, Chief, previously you mentioned the enhanced 911. Could you please explain to us and the residents out there when they should use 911 and what number should they call if it's not an emergency?
Well, 911, the universal number known by everybody, is to be specifically used for life-threatening emergencies. Our general number at 708-795-5600 should be used for all non-life-threatening, non-emergency type calls.
Okay. And when a person dials 911, is their identity broadcast?
Yes, that'll show on our call stream coming in. Except sometimes with cell phone services, most of the time it will, but sometimes maybe glitches in the system from the cell phone companies might hinder that. But most of the time we know where the call's coming from, so we can get the proper emergency personnel there.
What if I'm a resident that doesn't want anybody to know that I'm calling in?
Well, at 911, that's an agreement that you have through the phone companies as we pay, and that's a reason for 911 for using it as life-threatening situations and emergencies where we know to start dispatching our emergency personnel to.
But if I'm calling a crime in progress, I may not want that neighbor who's committing the crime to know that I'm the one that called. What happens in that situation?
But again, that's through the phone services, with the lines, the connections that come through there. So that's, again, wanting to know in an area, in an emergency situation, someone might call up in a domestic violence situation, dial 911, and just drop the phone.
Is my identity revealed, though, to the person I'm calling on?
Absolutely not.
That remains confidential with the police department?
Your identity is strictly confidential within our department and our records.
Does that also help you in getting back to a person in response to a complaint?
Absolutely. On calls that we receive where someone calls in anonymously, sometimes we need to by the time we respond to a scene, sometimes what that person's calling in for, that event or that circumstance might not be occurring. So we'd like to contact the callers and the complainants to sit there and they were the eyes and the witnesses to the offense occurring. So we'd like to see if they were happy with the services that we provided, or if what was going on at the time, who was involved.
So 911 is a very essential tool, but it is a confidential tool as far as the police department is concerned.
Absolutely.
Chief, I feel like I've known you my whole life, and I've only known you a little over a year. And I am so grateful that you joined our community, and I think that you're an asset to our community, you're an asset to our residents, and I want to thank you once again for everything you're doing here in our police department. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope I can build on that and be a success for you.
I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Meeting with the Mayor, and we'll see you again shortly.